This is Straight No Chaser Talk Radio. We're just getting started. Straight No Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
Welcome to Straight No Chaser. So grab a glass and join your hosts, your girl and BZ, Thin Bad, and the Chief. Welcome, everyone, to Straight No Chaser. It's the Chief, and I'm glad to have you here this evening. This evening, we're going to give you a treat. We're going to present an encore presentation of Riding the Midnight Train to Georgia with Mr. Bubba Knight. So we just ask that you sit back and enjoy it. And, of course, join us next week when we'll be live and we'll have some more exciting guests and more exciting hot topics to talk about. So make it a great week. Have a good time. Talk to you soon. And remember, all the shows dilute the issues. We just give them to you straight, no chaser. Welcome to Straight No Chaser. So grab a glass and join your hosts, your girl and BZ, Thin Bad, and the Chief.
Welcome to Straight No Chaser, where we never dilute the issues, we only serve the hard stuff. It's your girl, Ambeezy, and as always, I am joined by the Chief.
Hey.
And are we going to have Thin Bad today?
Yeah, he'll be on later.
Okay, and Thin Bad. But tonight, I am so excited to introduce the guest that we have. So if you can hear that music in the background, it is the unmistakable, undeniable, and unbelievable sounds of Gladys Knight and the Pips. And here in the studio, we are honored to be joined by a music legend who really needs no introduction. He sings, writes, dances, manages, and anything else required of a music icon. And of course, I'm referring to Mr. Bubba Knight of Gladys Knight and the Pips. I am honestly pinching myself, because it's not often that you get to interview or be around music royalty, really. So Indeed. Before you had the Jacksons, DeBarge, the Ohio Players, Jay-Z, Public Enemy, or any other icons that you could think of, there was Gladys Knight and the Pips. So tonight we are going to talk about how this legendary group became so world renowned, along with a whole lot more. Because, I'm sure Mr. Bubba has some great stories to tell. So, before we welcome him formally, let me remind the audience that you can call in at 702-425-7789 or chat with us live. We definitely want to hear from you. So, Mr. Knight, welcome to the show.
Thank you, LBZ.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness, it's such a pleasure
Man.
to be here. I'm telling you straight with no chaser.
Yes, sir.
Straight and no chaser. That's hardcore.
Right. Give it to you good. Straight up.
Thank you. That's such a lovely introduction. And thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I appreciate you being here.
My honor.
So let's jump right in. Tell us first when and how you got started in the business.
Okay. We were having my sisters Gladys and Brenda was having a birthday party for me on the September 4th, Labor Day, which is my birthday. And one kid brought his record player. We weren't playing the records that he liked. He took his record player and went home and left. He thought that he was stopping the show.
Oh.
But what happened was we decided to perform to each other. Everybody got up and did an act.
Oh, cool.
And so Gladys, my sisters, and my cousins, we decided to sing to entertain the people who were there at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom happened to be in the window, in the back window, listening and watching us. And when the party was over, she called us in the living room and asked us if we wanted to be, would you like to be a singing group? Because you guys sound great.
Wow.
And I'm going like, yeah, let's do that. Come
Yes.
on, dog. Yeah, woo, woo. So that's how we got started.
That's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And when you started to get out and perform and stuff like that, what was that like? Like what led up to everybody knowing who you guys were?
Okay, my mom, her nephew, James Woods, whose nickname is Pip.
Okay.
She put Pip in place to be our manager.
Okay.
Wow.
Pip was well known around Atlanta, Georgia, where we're all from.
Gotcha.
And Pip had a connection with a club in Atlanta called the Morocco Lounge, who was having, the club was having a talent contest. He entered us into the talent contest.
Oh, my gosh.
And you had to win like 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
3 weekends in a row.
Wow.
So we won the first weekend, we won the second weekend, and the third weekend we were losing.
Dang.
I'm going like, we almost had, oh man, we were losing. And this group from Morehouse College, who had studied music, they were professional music people, and their harmonies were like
On point.
oh my goodness! I mean, they were like the what do you call those guys that 7 after 7 and
Yeah.
you know that
Okay.
kind of harmony.
Yeah,
And
like perfect.
They were killing, you know, to the point where my sisters and my cousins went in the car and sat there and cried because they knew we had lost. and so Pip he came out of the club running and said, "Hey, you guys, come on back in because it's a tie."
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a tie.
What?
So we had an opportunity to redeem ourselves, right?
Wipe
And-
those tears.
Yeah. and I'm busy. What we did was we performed with a little more enthusiasm and like with the attitude of, we're going to win this thing.
Right.
You know, and we got the audience involved.
Nice. And
Look
that
out.
made all the
Look
difference.
out.
Wow.
Here we go.
Yes.
And they stood up, man, gave us a standing ovation. And the winner is the Pips. Because it was just the Pips.
Right.
Then it wasn't Gladys Knight.
Right.
And we won that contest. And what the payoff was, we would have a professional engagement at the Royal Peacock Supper Club across the street on Auburn Avenue with all of the big time artists, professional artists.
Okay.
Like Bill Doggett. Well, you don't know about these people I'm talking about now. I'm busy.
Hey, listen, you
But
never
I mean, you
know.
can look it up.
You never know.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Because, you know, I got an old soul. So,
Ah,
I don't know.
yeah. And we performed with Hank Ballard and the Midnighters and Fire Royals and Laverne Baker and Dinah Washington.
Okay.
And people of that caliber. And we won that weekend. And the owner of that club loved us.
Nice.
And he took us under his wing.
Wow.
And from that point on, he started booking us on shows that he had. We were open for artists like Jack Wilson, Sam Cooke, all of these kind of James Brown.
Okay.
You name them.
Nice.
We work with all of them. So that's how we got started.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
We didn't have a record. I'm easy.
No.
That's no record.
No.
That's just from performing.
That's talent. That's raw talent.
Hey, that's what we call. That's from selling it.
Right.
Wow.
But I love stories like that because you don't see that now. Like a lot of the performer, I wouldn't even say performers. A lot of the artists that have records out now that are Billboard, top of the charts, they don't
Yes.
even perform like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they perform live, but it's not a show. When you look back to you guys and the Jacksons
Yes.
and that whole kind of era back then,
Yes.
it was like an experience when you went to go see a show.
Absolutely.
And now it's kind of like a lot of the artists are just kind of like they play the track and they just kind of go for it,
exactly.
I guess.
right.
One, I'm busy. One artist that I have to say right now that impressed me at this point is Bruno Mars.
Oh, he's amazing.
Now, Bruno,
He's amazing.
he's got that old school kind of
Feel.
a thing going.
Yes.
Like what we used to
that
do.
funk, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bruno did. And when Michael came along, he had that old school feel as well. And he took from Jackie Wilson, James Brown, Joe Tex, all of these different artists that we had worked with, and he studied them.
Wow.
And that's how Michael, but he made Michael be Michael. He put
his own personality
on it.
on it. Yeah.
But a lot of the things that he was doing, and Prince, let's not leave Prince out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's one of the greats.
Yeah. They performed. I mean,
Yes.
they entertained.
Yes.
You
Like
know.
true entertainers.
There you go.
And that's what I feel. I say that all the time because my dad and I talk about this all the time, and it probably annoys him to death. But it's like,
does.
because whenever I say it, he goes, "Who are you? Like, how old are you?" Because I listen to music and I'm like, you don't even get that same like organic chemistry from music because they use like the drum machines and stuff like that, and that's cool and everything. I'm not knocking producers, but there's just something different about the chemistry and performance that you get from artists with a band.
Yes.
And choreography and just raw vocals. Like, it's just so different. It's so different.
Right. That kind of music is sterile.
Yes.
It's sterile.
Yes.
about it.
Drum machines and all of that. It has no feel.
Yeah.
It's just like a robot.
Right.
They have a commercial on
And it
television
loops.
today.
Yeah, and it just loops.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, if you watch performances from like back in the day, you would there were artists that would become so carried away that the whole band would switch up, and they
Yes.
would just, they might speed up, like they might up their tempo, or like they just might add a little bit more funk into it, and like the whole band just seemed like they were in sync. The energy would just pick up as a whole, and like you can't do that if your track is on a loop.
No. You'll be like Millie
Vanilli.
Oh no.
Okay,
No,
don't let
no,
that.
no.
Don't. Hey, I'm busy. Don't let that track have a hiccup. Don't let that track have a hiccup. Yeah, a hiccup. And,
And all of a sudden
now
you're
what
like,
you gonna?
"Wait
Now
a
what you
minute."
gonna do?
No.
What you gonna do now?
It's like, hold on, their lips not moving. What's
They're
going
still
on?
moving. What's going on? Why
Yeah.
their lips moving? There's no music.
Yeah, you know, yo, I'm busy. This, but it's an art to that as well, because
There
I don't know
is.
whether you know this or not, but you just brought up something that I thought about back in the day when Soul Train first started.
Oh yeah.
When Don Cornelius first presented Soul Train, and I have a story for you if you want to hear.
Oh
about-
yes, I'm
about-
here
Tell it.
for it.
Tell it.
All right, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. All right.
Would like to hear? Here it go.
Yeah, Don Cornelius came out of Chicago, and he wanted to start this television show, Soul Train, and he came out to the Brown Derby. It was a restaurant in
Oh yeah,
California.
I've heard of that.
Brown
yeah.
Derby.
That's a
And-
big restaurant
Yeah.
for celebrities.